Oh, hi. You just caught me watching the cinematic masterpiece, Little Nicky. Now you're probably wondering, where's the Amigo? Why is the screen not blinding you? Well, unfortunately, my Amigo has been given the curse, I should say, of no privacy. So, unfortunately, they're stuck on the planet No Talentron, along with the other talentless losers. So, you're stuck with me tonight. Which means, yes, this is going to be less of a funny episode and more of a chill, relaxed one. Well, anyway, let's talk about what happens when a film studio does what they do best and remakes one of their classic films, but takes advantage of a perfect release date along the way. And no, I am not referring to Pokemon the movie Hoopa and the Clash of Ages. So once upon a time, in 1976, there was a little film called The Omen, released and produced by 20th Century Fox. This film proved to be a mega hit, spawning a long-running franchise consisting of 4 films total, 3 sequels. What's not to love? Well, anyway, fast forward to 2006, when 20th Century Fox must have realized, wait, June 6th, 2006, this year has a Satan-sounding day. Let's remake The Omen. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I feel like both this movie and 9 were kind of only made just so they could say, we put out a movie on this day. Also, today is 6/6/26. So, assuming we're all still alive by then, see you all again on 6/6/36. Because at this point, I really doubt if we're going to live to see 2027, let alone 28. With that being dick sucked, The Omen. Oh yeah, prepare to hear the and 6 a lot. Yeah. Anyway, The Omen, also known as The Omen 666, which, you know what, we're going to refer to it as that. Just so, because it's another one of those remakes that uses the same title as the original, and I hate when they do that, but The Omen 666, let's call it that, is a 2006 American supernatural horror film directed by John Moore and written by David Seltzer. You know, when I hear Seltzer, my brain goes to something else entirely. Actually, funny that I was making a joke there because I just looked at Seltzer's filmography. Okay, he wrote the original Omen and Willy Wonka. Imagine going from Willy Wonka to the Omen. That is funny as fuck. That is really funny. That God. Actually, to be honest, I don't know what the hell I was thinking with David Seltzer, but anyway, I'm tired. Anyway, this film was the 5th installment in the Omen series. It is, of course, a remake of the 1976 film of the same title. Though, if I'm going to be honest, it kind of feels like they were trying to mislead people into thinking it was a sequel. I mean, first off, if you want to call it that, the title, Omen 666. Second, the tagline, what's the tagline again? A new generation of terror. Which, yeah, they were definitely trying to gaslight you into thinking this was a sequel. But anyway. Anyway. Which was also written by David Seltzer. This version stars Julia Stiles, or Stills, I think. Anyway, Liv Schreiber, Mia Farrow, David Tallis, Pete, I'm probably going to butcher the hell out of this, Postlethwaite, or Postlethwaite, Peter Name, or Pete Name, what? Michael Gambon, and Seamus Davy Fitzpatrick in his feature film debut. Produced and released by 20th Century Fox, this film received mixed reviews from critics, but it grossed $120 million on a $25 million budget. I know that, I was going to say that's more than I can say for Masters of the Universe right now, but God, I know He-Man, Masters of the Universe, only came out yesterday, but God, the fact that it's not doing better is predictable but depressing. Close enough. Welcome back, Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. Anyway. So what's the plot? Well, you all know the plot. Right? A baby is actually born to Satan, is the Antichrist. Yeah. I saw that one. It's called What We're Living Through Right Now. But anyway. Anyway. Excuse me. As I was saying. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention. Harvey Spencer Stevens, who portrayed Damien in the original film, makes a cameo appearance as a reporter. I always love when remakes do that. So what about that motherfucking production? Well, the film was greenlit in July 2005, with Dan McDermott attached to write and John Moore directing. McDermott was later denied a writing credit by the Writers Guild of America, as the screenplay was determined to be too similar to David Seltzer's script for the original. Instead, Seltzer received sole credit despite being uninvolved with the remake's production. I mean, scummy, but I get it. I get it. Anyway, in an episode of the Script Notes podcast, screenwriter Craig Mazin cited this as an unusual outcome of the WGA's arbitration process. I swear English is my first language. According to the feature commentary on the DVD, hosted by Moore, editor Dan Zimmerman and producer Glenn Williamson, the search for Damien spanned Los Angeles, London, and New York. In 2005, newcomer Seamus Davy Fitzpatrick was cast in the part, with his screen test doubling as the movie's teaser poster. Cool. Yeah. Principal photography took place, or began, I should say, October. I swear I have dementia. October 3rd, 2005, at Barrandov Studios in Prague, Czech Republic, where the film was mostly shot. However, the Jerusalem scenes, were filmed in Matera, Italy, and some of the London scenes were shot in Herbert Park, Dublin. And that's really funny to me because if this movie came out today, I feel like they would have actually been able to film, in London. I mean, I'm not knocking this film's production by far, I'm just saying, but anyway. In May 2021, a scandal arose in Croatia. Oh no. After Split Dalmatia County Prefect Blaženko Boban confessed to the Minister of Tourism, Nikolina Brnjak, however you say it. I apologize if anybody from these countries is watching this right now. I really do apologize. Anyway, confessed to the Minister of Tourism, in front of the media, that in order to chase the film crew away, he deliberately staged a fire in Solana. I nearly read that as Soliana, which was to become the movie set for the scenes filmed in the country. He apparently did it because in one scene, Satan was supposed to come out of the tomb of Saint Dominus. I mean, director John Moore told the media afterwards that the cost of relocation was $500,000 US, equivalent to $700,000 today, or in 2025, I should say. After police announced that they were investigating the case, Boban denied the whole thing, claiming that he had been joking. Yeah, okay, Tinker Tits. Anyway. Side note, Tinker Tits. Anyway. Scratch my... Anyway. Okay. That's basically the production side, though. So I guess we can go ahead and get to that motherfucking reception. Well. The film, I said, of course, was released on June 6th, 2006, referencing the number of the beast and mirroring the 1976 film's similar release date of June 6th, 1976. So, it was also an anniversary tie-in. Really clever, by the way. Really, really clever. Yeah. No, I don't have a joke for that. I don't have any sarcasm for that. That just is really clever. So I guess actually right now, this is not only the 20th anniversary of this movie, but also, the 50th anniversary of the original. So we're kind of knocking two birds out with one stone. Yeah. Well, anyway, as I was saying, As for Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 26 out of, based on 165 reviews, with an average rating of 4.6 out of 10. 0 to 54. The consensus reads... I forgot. The consensus reads, even with the force of a classic behind it, remake fever can't hold up the hollowness of this style-drenched Omen. It always kills me how these critics always say their reviews like, okay, I know what I'm trying. It kills me how they're harsh but polite. like what they mean, even if it is correct, is harsh. But then what they're saying is also just completely true. I just think that's really funny. Really, really funny. Oh, too bad most film critics... Yeah. Too bad most film critics... Yeah. Anyway, back to the movie. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 43 out of 100, based on 34 critics, 0 to 54, once again, indicating mixed or average reviews. Whew. Yeah. Yes. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of C+ on the A+ to F scale. Yeah. James Berardinelli, that's a name we haven't heard in a while, commented, on every level, The Omen isn't just bad filmmaking, it's bad storytelling. He especially criticized its similarity to the original movie, which he also greatly disliked. Rolling Stone also made the latter point, not since Gus Van Sant inexplicably directed a shot-for-shot remake of Hitchcock's Psycho has a thriller been copied with so little point or impact. Wow, are you describing this movie, or are you describing How to Train Your Dragon 2025? Anyway. Roger Ebert, oh God, or should I say, oh Satan, gave the film a thumbs up and 3 stars out of 4. In contrast to his negative review of the original, praising John Moore for letting the strong story unfold its... Okay, I'm going to stop saying the for a while. The strong story unfold itself rather than foregrounding visual effects. The Washington, Stephen Hunter, I nearly said Stephen Miller, throw me into a brick wall, please, praised the film. It's handsome in the way that it's fast-moving, sleek, well-engineered, full of gooses and honks. Gooses and honks? That's one way to put it. Gooses and honks. I'm going to have to start using that. Oh my God. Oh. Anyway, as I was saying, gooses and honks. Some of the casting seems a little off, still it works. In contrast, fast forward to the year 2017, 11 years later, when Slash Film listed it as one of the 15 15 worst horror remakes of all time, citing the direction as lifeless and the film pointless due to its fidelity to the original. Okay, now I'm going to stop myself right here for a minute, because while I did just make the joke about How to Train Your Dragon 2025, I can see a lot of parallels between this film and that one, where on every technical level it's not a bad movie, but it's largely the same movie with minimal change. But I'll speak more of that in a moment. What about home video? Well, the film was then released on DVD in the US shortly thereafter on October 17th, 2006, just in time for Halloween. No VHS release, because by this point, most of the major studios had already given up on VHS. I'm very itchy tonight. But there was a DVD release, October 2006. And then 1 month later, on November 14th, 2006, the film was released on Blu-ray. Both of these were, of course, released by 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment. And for a while, that was pretty much it. Until, what year was it when this came out? Okay, until October 7th, 2008, when Fox Home Entertainment released the Omen Collection Blu-ray box set, containing all of the films that had released up to this point, including the original film, the sequel, Damien, Omen 2, the third film, The Final Conflict, and, of course, the remake. Yeah. And worth noting, this set would later be reprinted 2 more times. First time in 2020 by Buena Vista Home Entertainment, because by this point, Disney had folded Fox Home Entertainment into their own in-house home video arm. And, it was then reprinted 1 more time in 2024 by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. But this wouldn't be the last time it was released. On October 15th, 2019, Shout Factory obtained the license to these films. Funnily enough, shortly after that Disney acquired Fox. So, I guess technically this was a Disney license. Shout Factory put out their own Blu-ray box set, which I think was also titled... I think it was also... Yeah, this one was also titled The Omen Collection, which... it's got to be really confusing. You know, there's the Omen Collection that was released on Blu-ray by Fox Home Entertainment, and then there was the Omen Collection released by Shout Factory. Now, while it looks like the Fox Blu-ray was a bare bones set, The Shout release looks like it has special features for each of the movies, and actually included one movie that the Fox Blu-ray set did not include, that being Omen 4: The Awakening. So, actually, this was like the first... Okay, actually, I'm going to look into this, because I don't know anything about this one, so... Was this the first time this one was released on video, or was it... Well, I'm going to look into that now. Okay. Okay, it was first released on Laserdisc in 1992 and 93. Then it was released on DVD on September 4th, 2001 by Fox Home Entertainment as a part of a 4-film DVD collection containing the previous 2 sequels. Okay, so this was not the first time that Omen 4 was released on video, but it was the first time on Blu-ray, noted. So actually, this is more complete than the Fox release. So you actually get all 5 movies at the time. Obviously, the first Omen, the prequel, had not yet been released. Although going back to The Awakening was intended to be the first of many television sequels to Fox's film history of popular titles. It was largely panned by critics. That has me curious. Anyway, but that basically covers... Oh yeah, I don't know if the first Omen was, by itself I should say, was ever reprinted at any point besides these box sets, but I'm going to look into that now. I apologize for all the dead air. Okay. Okay, does not look like... Excuse me. Does not look like it was ever reprinted or reissued recently. So, I guess we can go ahead and get to actually showcasing my copy, and then we can talk about the movie. So, here's my DVD copy. The widescreen edition, which I guess means there was also a full screen. I guess. I don't know. A New Generation of Terror, which again, makes it sound like this is a sequel to those previous movies, even though it's not. Anyway, Fox Home Entertainment, DVD logo. Special features include unrated extended scenes and extended ending, commentary by director John Moore, producer Glenn Williamson, and editor Dan Zimmerman, Omenisms documentary, Abbey Road recording sessions featurette, British music, and exclusive behind-the-scenes featurette, Revelation 666. Okay, so were any of these ported over to the Shout Blu-ray? Because, again, I'm curious. Okay. Okay, yeah, looks like the Shout Factory Blu-ray. Yeah, looks like the Shout Factory release carried over all the same features, which is good. Anyway, there is, of course, the disc. We have we have a few inserts. Okay. Insert with your chapter selections. X-Men Jump Scare. Excellent offers come in small packages. Save up to $20 by mail. Remember when DVDs used to sell you on shit like that? I sure do. Must Own TV on DVD. Prison Break Season 1. 24 Season 5. Prison Break now available. 24 December 2006. Not included in the rebate offer. Make sure you read the fine print. Yeah. Okay. So, this movie. Now, okay. This is going to sound like very blasphemous, but which ironic, given it's a franchise all about blasphemy, but I have only seen this film and the first Omen, which was the prequel released in 2024. Now, but I will say, now, even though I have not seen the original Omen film, I can kind of I can kind of already get the gist that it probably is not that different than the remake. Excuse me. Which, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Honestly, this could be a tangent all on its own, but I'll give you all the short version. I hate the type of remakes where they basically just sort of copy-paste what came before, but either slightly different or not really different. Like, Lion King 2019. Well, do I even need to say it? Do I? Yeah, no, I don't think so. It really is just a shot-for-shot remake of The Lion King. So I imagine the same probably applies. The same probably applies, I would imagine, to The Omen. But again, I have never actually seen the original film, so what would I know? But, regardless, do I still like this movie? Yes. Yes, I do. It's a very creepy, ominous, downright disturbing horror movie. But really, I think if your horror movie is exhibiting those kind of reactions from your audience, then that is a sign that I think you've done successful horror. If a horror movie just makes you kind of, stare blankly at your screen, whether it's your TV or your phone or your tablet or your monitor or the movie theater screen, whatever. Just if a horror movie makes you stare blankly at your screen, then did you really succeed? Because I would say no, personally. But that's just me. But this movie succeeds. It does horror well. It gives all the right energy, all the right vibes, I'd say. It's unsettling, it's disturbing, it's slow burn, but also suspenseful. Really, it's the kind of movie I like. Let's just say that. Yeah. Scratch my eye there. Okay. Is there really anything else I can add? Not really, no. Yeah. I think I will give it on the remakes, well, not just the remake scale, but the scale. What's this? The scale. I will give it a 4.5 out of 5 Mark Ruffalo's. Now, normally would be the part of the show where I am subjected to YouTube shorts and or other things on YouTube, either against my will or of my own curiosity, for while I'm sitting here just completely nonverbal, occasionally, or not really occasionally, but to the point where we're probably on the call way longer than we probably should be, but obviously yeah. So to pad out the runtime, I'm going to go on a secondary tangent tonight. Actually, I'm going to go on at least 2 more tangents. So, if you want a good 666 double feature, The Omen, whether it's the original or the remake, and Little Nicky. That, I think, is a good double feature for the cursed unholy day. Even if you're probably going to be waiting like another 10 years for the next one. Yeah. Alright. Now. Hang on. Alright. Now, I'm going to pad out the rest of the episode by telling you all what I got up to today. So, I like to put Comic-Con into one of 2 boxes. We all know what Comic-Con is, but I can put it into one of 2 boxes. There's the... Hang on. There we go. Alright. There's the true, what I'm going to call big boy Comic-Con, which usually takes place in San Diego every year. San Diego. And then there's what I'm going to call the small-scale local Comic-Cons that are not, I wouldn't say unauthorized, but have nothing to do with San Diego Comic-Con and are typically hosted by your local venue or local library. Typically library, because they're all over that. Now, excuse me. Anyway, so far I have attended the Comic-Con event at my local library, to my knowledge, 2 times. Last year and this year. Now, I forget what I went as, or actually, it was Deadpool. I remember now. Was it? I forget what it was last year. I'll have to go back in my memory. But either way, I did dress up for Comic-Con last year. This year, I wanted / considered Fox McCloud because really that was kind of the one part of the Mario Galaxy movie besides the animation and the soundtrack that I kind of fuck with. But we all slowly started to realize how kind of not doable that is on my lack of budget. So, something I wanted to do for Halloween 2025, it was. The hit character Ares from the not-hit movie Tron Ares. Which, yeah, that was slapped together in the cheapest way possible, and never put reflective tape on your body ever again, but it turned out better than we all thought it would. Though I'm still going to spare you all the photo. You can just imagine it. But anyway. How did the actual event go? Well, other than my sister kind of being a little testy on the way there and the way back, but actually being in a good mood during the event. Yeah. So Comic Con at the library, at my local library, it's kind of like it has a very good turnout in both of the years that I've been. Very large turnout, very packed, very busy. But, don't expect San Diego Comic Con numbers, of course. And don't expect like Disney to pull up to my state and announce that Avengers Doomsday is coming out 2 minutes earlier than it was supposed to. But you do end up with some surprises. You have people there, you have artists there that I feel like I should recognize, but I don't. Not knocking any of these artists, but just saying, I don't know who you are, but I'm sure you're great people. But of course, you also have venues, people selling stuff. And of course, I had to damn near bankrupt my poor mother. Let me tell you all what I got. So, okay. I was actually going to start with this first because I found it first, but actually, I'll save it for last because I think it's the coolest. So, I guess starting with. Okay. So, I guess starting with the Smallies, I got this little doll of Fluttershy. Very cute. In case you forgot / didn't know that I was into Milo Copper, I don't know why you're fascinated with this. This is an inedible piece of plastic. What the hell? Copper. What the hell? What? Well, if you want to be included, I did not obtain this there, but oh, speaking of, here's a Funko Pop of Bunny from the hit movie that doesn't exist. Bunny. Next we have, okay, this is another cool one. DVD, OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, TKO. I'll have to talk about OKKO one of these days, but I found this. It was $5. I figured, $5, cool show. I like it. It's a Cartoon Network DVD. Don't have, so might as well add it to the horde. Doesn't look like there were any special features on this release, but contains, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 episodes. How is that not a complete season? I actually don't know how many episodes are in the average season, but that seems like the equivalency of a complete season. But yeah, the disc, I mean, very bland, very gray, or silver, I should say, white, whatever. But I really hope Cartoon Network puts out the complete series one of these days. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't announce it once I bought it, because that usually happens. They usually announce a complete set or a 4K. Okay, these next three I'm showing together. Yeah, sorry, Mom. Yeah. In case you need any proof that I like DC too, and hey, look, while they're not comic books, I did buy comic book related things at a Comic Con. Oh God. Okay, so Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Total blind buy. Never seen it, but you know what? I like the DC animated movies. I like the DC animated movies, at least the ones I've seen. And I've been trying to fill out the collection. So I figured, you know what, might as well add some more to the pile. When I'll get to watching this one, I don't know. But then again, it is summer. All the TV shows have gone on hiatus, so... But this is a Blu-ray DVD combo. Cool. Back when Warner Bros. Did combo packs. Okay, now this next movie I actually have seen on HBO Max, but I did not own a copy of it. Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Another really good one, in my opinion. Yeah. And this was a part of the DC animated movie universe, which was an interesting beast. Again, another Blu-ray DVD combo. And the next and last movie that I got, another total blind buy, Batman Hush. And again, another Blu-ray DVD combo. Yeah. I can now, these three were sort of in this like bin, basically, with different Marvel and DC movies. Most of them were on DVD, but there were a few Blu-rays mixed in. I debated getting both Injustice and Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, even though they were just the DVDs and not the Blu-rays. But I was like, I mean, I liked, because I've seen both of those when they were on HBO Max. But I was like, well, I mean, I liked these movies, but, you know, do I need them right this second? No. Plus, I can probably find the Blu-rays cheaper elsewhere. So, maybe, oh, hey, Suicide Squad. I mean, I didn't say all of that out loud, but that was basically what I was thinking. And the last Comic-Con haul thing of the day, and of the year, until next year's, that I will show. This one I thought was the coolest. Now, whoopsie, way to spoil things. Call me Mark Ruffalo, the way I just spoiled. Okay. Now, when I was getting into the Marvel movies back in 2019, which was right around the time the quality, I'm too lazy to go grab it, but I got the Nano Gauntlet toy, the gray one, actually, before they did the running change to make it the right color. But I never actually got the original gold Thanos gauntlet that they released during Infinity War, because that was just 1 year before I was interested in these movies. And there it was, sitting on the table for just $5. Yeah, only $5. I mean, I know this is kind of like the basic kids line gauntlet that's like kind of rubbery, so you can, go out in the yard and punch your stupid fucking friends with it. But I couldn't help myself. And I mean, still works. Yeah, when I saw this, I had to have it. After all these years, I felt like Thanos finally obtaining the stones in that moment. But hey. And I say, hey, what a wonderful time of day. Yeah. But alas, my children, Now I can rest easy. This goes so hard. Feel free to screenshot. But yeah, now I can rest easy, knowing that I am, well, not that I am, but that my mother is severely in debt, and that I can eliminate all life in the universe. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers my Comic Con 2026 experience at the library. I would love to someday be able to attend, Comic Con San Diego, but, that would require me to be rich. Okay, but, oh, actually, before I go, because this is about the end of the episode, before I go, I do want to wrap up with a funny story. So, at one point, I did run into this boy. I know some of you are probably thinking, oh, you have a crush now? No. Anyway, so I ran into this boy. I didn't run into, but I encountered this boy. And, he asked if I was dressed up as anybody in particular, and I said what I was. And if you need any proof, Tron Ares did not make anything at the box office. I said, I'm Ares from Tron Ares, and he kind of just looked at me like confused. I'm not being judgmental, but bless his heart. He looked at me like all confused. And I think he was just trying to default to like whatever he thought fit the aesthetic he was looking at. Because he just did this like FNAF, like, ooga booga. That's what he did. Ooga booga. And then just. But then he started talking about these like blockies, Transformers, blind box things that he got, and which ones he was looking for. It wasn't like a super long conversation, but I was into it. I've never collected blockies, so I didn't have a lot of commentary to add or any help to give, sadly. But what's your face? If you're somehow out there watching this, have a day. And Disney, if you're out there, I'm sorry Tron Ares bombed at the box office. I tried to help, okay? I tried. I tried when it was in the theater, and I tried to make people aware about it today. Damn. Okay, but I think that about covers it for today. And, honestly, I think that about covers this episode. Sorry if this was a shorter one, but it was kind of impromptu. But before I go, I'm gonna wrap this up the only way I know how. Because summer, well, I would say is right around the corner, but really is here now. I just want to say, have a fun summer. If you're attending one of these Comic Cons, let me know. Let me know how your experience goes. Let me know what your favorite memory is at a Comic Con. Let me know. Yeah. In other words, does anyone want to come over to my place and watch Sean Connery versus the Cock? Yeah. On that note, what did we learn tonight? Well, I guess what we learned tonight, is, well, simply put, if your child is making a lot of strange things happen around town, chances are they're either the Antichrist or just the average toddler. No in between. Just be glad that the average 2-year-old does not have access to TikTok because otherwise they would have drank Tide Pods on the daily. I don't know why I said drank Tide Pods, but we're just going to roll with it. I guess the other thing we learned tonight is Comic-Con is dope, whether it's the big boy or the local. Anyway, come back tomorrow night when we find a local big boy statue, throw it in the backseat of a car, and then drive it off a cliff into a ravine, because that would be really funny. But will I elaborate further? Nope, because I said enough. But for now, that's all the time we have for tonight. But always remember, eat your cereal, go to bed, to be continued. God made you special and he loves you very much. And by the way, whichever one of you doesn't know how to flush the toilet after they've had the shit, well, it was fucking one of yous. Disgusting! Have a day.